morning. This is Blanca, and I am here with the host of mylegaladvocate.com, Juan Medolla with Marecki Medolla. How are you, Juan?
Good morning, Blanca. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I am wonderful, and it's always a pleasure to see you.
Same
And
here.
Marecki Medolla is a wonderful sponsor of the Laws of Life webcast network. And today's topic is slip and falls. So let's just start off with what is exactly a slip and fall case mean?
Well, slip and fall case is a type of premises liability case. Premises is a location, it's a place, and liability is how a certain place is to blame if somebody is injured. So a slip and fall is essentially when you are on someone else's premises and some sort of foreign substance that you were not expecting or were not warned about causes you to fall and injure yourself.
So, God forbid I fall. What is the first thing I should do?
Well, God forbid you should fall, or anybody who's listening should fall. Number one thing would be to get medical attention to make sure that there aren't any kind of significant injuries. So if you are able, I would dial 911 or seek the best medical attention possible. If you still do have your wits about you, the second thing I would do would be to get a hold of a manager or an employee in the location that you fell and make sure that an incident report is created. It's very important to document when it happened, where it happened, and who you spoke with. And once all that is kind of the first step of the process, and then it's very important you get a hold of a lawyer right away at that point.
Oh, wow, that's really good advice. And how common are these slip and fall accidents?
Well, unfortunately, slip and fall accidents happen incredibly often. Most people don't even know that they may have a claim when they fall somewhere. They kind of just think, well, I fell, I should, go about my life. In fact, stats show that even about 1 million people or more have to go to the emergency room as a result of slip and falls on a yearly basis.
That's a lot of people, 1 million a year.
Yeah.
And what is the most common cause of slip and falls that you're seeing out there right now?
Well, it depends on the area. Stores, more often than not, it's some kind of residue, either a leaking AC, an improperly swept or mopped floor, rain, humidity, a lot, especially in restaurants. Say it's raining, and as people are walking in, they're dragging the water in. The front door staying open causes humidity, which changes the friction of the floor. All those things cause slip and fall accidents.
And if I fall on someone's property, what are the best steps there? Do I have the ability to file a claim?
Yeah, it's always fact specific. So I don't. Generally speaking, yes. There's a famous scene in at My Cousin Vinny where he asked the guy who had fallen if he fell at a store, and he said no, it was at a house. And he looks away and he says, was it your house or somebody else's house? And he said, my house. And that was the end of the conversation. If you fall at somebody else's house or another place of business, there is the possibility to make a claim. Yes. So for example, at a business, most businesses are either self-insured or have some kind of global policy that would insure them for your injuries. Specifically, you will have a policy term that will insure you. And if you fall at somebody's house and are injured, homeowners insurance policies often cover that.
Now, what about in the case of a restaurant? How would that work? A restaurant or hotel?
All right. Well, with let's say a big chain restaurant, something like I don't want to say any specific names, but a big chain restaurant, a lot of them are self-insured. Essentially, what self-insured means is they have enough funds to cover any kind of claim against them, so they wouldn't necessarily need an insurance policy. If you were to, for some of the smaller chains or a small mom and pop shop, they probably have an insurance policy that covers them. But again, the rules are the same. Make sure you're not, if you are significantly injured, that you get medical attention and that you let a manager or an employee know and make an incident report.
And what about even something as simple as slipping on a wet floor? How would that situation work?
Yeah, actually, that's how most of these happen, and most of the time, the debate is the same. You as the injured person feel like you weren't properly warned about what happened, and now you have a serious injury. And the restaurant will say, "Well, you should have watched where you're going. You just slipped on some water. What do you want us to do?"
Hmm.
So, like I said, the water is some of the most common types of slip and falls. And it's very important that you realize you do have a claim, because restaurants and businesses in general owe the highest duty of care to their patrons. And that's very important to remember.
That really is important, because I think what happens is a lot of people self blame and take the blame on
Mhm.
themselves and think that they don't have rights.
Exactly. Or they feel ashamed to make a claim, and they feel embarrassed that, well, I'm injured. It must have been my fault because I fell. Nobody pushed me or did anything like that. So it must be my fault. And that's what oftentimes people who are in businesses who have had claims made against them, that's kind of how they want to make the argument look like. And most people don't make claims because of that.
Precisely. And another thing that I think people really forget is that you might think you're not injured, but injuries can happen later. Don't
That's
you
correct.
agree it makes sense to play it safe?
Absolutely. Most of the time, people do not realize they have a significant injury until they get the worst type of symptoms. A week or two later, it could even be a year later. Something that you seriously damaged at some point, you tore a muscle, you tore a ligament, you strained something significantly. Now it becomes an issue for you for the rest of your life, and you could have done something when it happened, and now it's too late.
Absolutely. And there is that awkward situation, Juan, where somebody falls at a friend's house.
Hmm.
What are your recommendations on how to handle that situation?
Yeah, there are unfortunately those types of situations where someone may either fall or trip, or even something like maybe their dog or their family pet bites them or causes an injury. Those issues are specifically addressed in homeowners insurance policies. And look, if you are injured at somebody else's property, somebody is going to be responsible for paying those bills. And if you feel like it was not your fault, um, it's something that should be explored. It's up to each individual person, but I really think it's important that you explore your rights when those things happen, even if it isn't a friend, even if it is a friend. I mean,
Yeah, and there's a proper way, just laws of life coming in to play for a minute, is
hmm
delivering the message that if someone is injured, you do need to get the medical attention you do require, and you need to make sure, and that's why we have insurance. God forbid there's a car accident, God forbid there's an injury in the house. That is why we have insurance, and we should utilize it when necessary so that everybody can get the care that they need and get the damages that they need. My next question that I was really curious about was these cases, what percentage of them go to trial? Are they difficult to settle? What's your experience with that?
Well, difficult to settle. It depends on the facts. If we have a case where the person who was injured has a significant injury, they have a picture or video of exactly what caused the injury, and you could show that it's egregious and they really should have taken care of this. It's going to be a lot easier to settle that type of claim. Um, and in general, only about 0.1%, 99.9% of cases do not go to trial. Most things are resolved. Trial is a big gamble to both sides of the case. Most cases settle because it's an all or nothing game at trial, and most people try to avoid that. Um, it's in the best interest of both parties. So settlements do happen, but you have to have your facts. You have to have your evidence. It's not just I'm injured and it happened somewhere, so I should be compensated.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And last but not least, what is the statute of limitations for a slip and fall case?
Okay, so statute of limitations is how long after you are injured that you have to file a lawsuit. So say you were injured today, which is December 4th, you would have 4 years from the date of the injury to file a lawsuit. You can make a claim along the way, but if it's not resolved or settled, now a claim is separate from a lawsuit. So say you have someone has an insurance policy and you make a claim on that insurance, the policy will open a claim under that policy number. If you can't resolve it within 4 years, you must file a lawsuit to preserve your right to get access to the courts over that injury. If not, you will lose your chance forever to file a lawsuit against the person who injured you.
Okay, so that's very important. You must file the actual claim within that period. And Juan, just telling us a little bit about the firm, how anybody that needs to reach out to Juan, you can call him. He's very accessible, very easy to talk to. The consultation is complimentary, correct? For anyone that has a question?
Every single consult, every single conversation in our office is 100% free. We'd be glad to speak with you. And again, we review insurance policies free of charge. A lot of people don't know what even is in their insurance. So if you just send over your declaration page or your insurance policy to info@mylegaladvocate.com, we will get back to you within 24 hours with a review of your policy and recommendations.
Oh, that is an incredible opportunity, and I think that there are not many law firms doing this where they're providing a free review of your car insurance policy, and you can email that to info@mylegaladvocate.com. The website for the law firm is also on the screen, mylegaladvocate.com, or you can simply call Juan Medolla at 561-847-2868. Well, Juan, this has been really informative. You've cleared up a lot of questions about slip and falls, and you're going to want to consult with Juan or consider consulting with him if, God forbid, that happens. Anything last to add, Juan, before we sign off?
Nope. I appreciate your time and the opportunity to share the information.
All right, everybody. Have a happy Friday and a safe, healthy weekend. And we will see you every Friday at 10:30 right here with mylegaladvocate.com.
Bye.
Bye.